Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'd like to first of all thank you, the viewers, who have watched the videos and have commented and have liked the videos and have subscribed to the channel. I'll keep making the videos if you keep watching them. Thank you very much and thanks for all your support. Also, a huge shout out to Mohit and the team at Optics Warehouse, where I purchased this particular bipod, which is the Accu-tac FC5-G2. I'll be talking about that in a bit. But this video I'm calling affectionately Battle of the Bipods, and I wanted to use this as an opportunity to just overview some of the bipods I've got and the reason why I own them, and essentially what I use them for, which particular rifles I find them good with, and also what do I think of these bipods. I mean, these bipods I've amassed over time and I've purchased for different reasons, and I'll talk about those in a bit, so that way you'll be able to decide from your perspective, you know, which particular bipod is good for you, depending on your purpose, whether or not you're using it for target or hunting or even just basic plinking. Please bear in mind though that these particular bipods that I'm going to be talking about, they are upper tier bipods in terms of cost. I know that when I first started shooting, I took the low tier approach, which is essentially buying cheap bipods off Amazon, and you know, some of them are actually quite good for the money, but I found that with time that I wanted to invest a little bit more money into stability of shooting. And in fairness, one of the things that isn't on here, because it's not a bipod, it's essentially a tripod and clamp, which is my Coldwell precision shooting rest, which is again one of my major go-tos. Having said that though, it is rather big and bulky and not portable, whereas these are completely that. And there is also a GRS Overbore Bipod, which isn't here because it's currently attached to my FX Impact Mark II. And in addition to that, there is also an Air Force One carbon fiber, which is currently attached, and that's an overbore bipod too, which is currently attached to my Ghost BRK Ghost Plus. You'll be able to see those two videos on the channel for those particular rifles and the bipods attached to them. But for now, let's get stuck into these particular bipods. So over here on the left-hand side are two bipods from Dolphin, and this is essentially a normal stance one and the wider stance. Now this one I picked up off a friend, Paul Ford, hi Paul, who essentially was looking to move on as he progressed to something else, and I thought, you know, it's an opportunity for me to get a nice carbon fiber leg bipod, something that's light, maneuverable. Notice that there's spring tension in the legs, which is good. You have to kind of dial them back over here. You also get a nice case with this and the option to change these feet to spikes. I find this particularly useful for bullpups. It's small, it's light, it's detachable with the quick release, which is great. It's on a ball joint, so there's quite a lot of freedom of there's a lot of freedom of movement. It's really portable, which is one of the things that attracted me to this particular one. Having said that, I wanted a little bit more, I suppose, stability at the front end on some of my heavier rifles, which is why I opted then for the wider stance, which is this. And now this is pretty much exactly the same in terms of ball joint, quick release. You've got obviously this clamp over here which holds the ball joint over here in place, but the only difference is it's obviously wider stance, so it essentially provides a good center of gravity for me, for slightly heavier rifles anyway. And I know in my collection I have got quite a variety of heavy or front heavy rifles, which I found this particular rifle useful for. So bearing that in mind, that, you know, that's good for bullpups, it's light, portable, that's good for slightly heavier rifles. And then I kind of graduated onto this, which is the Valhalla. Again, this I found particularly useful for a number of different reasons. One is because this spigot, now what I've done is here, I don't know if you can see, I've attached a quick release joint onto this spigot here. Now this essentially is supposed to, if I take this off for a minute over here using this clamp, that resides or supposed to reside permanently on a rifle. Now I haven't, there's a number of different rifles I use this on, which is why I've attached this, I've attached this quick release adapter onto the spigot, so that way I can pick and choose whenever I want to use it. But if you don't want to do that and you've got a rifle that you know you want to permanently have essentially a bipod attached to, then this spigot is particularly useful for that, for this Valhalla. Now this Valhalla is, again, it's wide stance, which is beautiful. It's really light. It's, to be fair, I haven't got the exact weightage, but it's lighter than this wide stance bipod by far. The only difference I found is that in its I suppose convenience, everything's attached over here, whereas you've got to consider that this is the bipod on its own and it's non-functional until you have the spigot. But it does collapse or fold really nice and concisely as well over here like this. So again, this is particularly useful for slightly heavier rifles, front loaded, and you essentially want a quality product, because I mean, look, it's got really nice carbon legs as well. There's rubberized feet which protect. Again, you can take these up over here like this, and there's spikes on the end over here, which are really nice little concealed feature there. And again, it's you can see there's like ratchet joints over here, which is nice. And again, it's essentially somewhat spring loaded, I think, which is good. And it feels secure, a well machined quality product. Okay. Now we're moving over to essentially what I call top tier bipods. So then you've got Accu-tac. Now, American firm, known for incredibly well machined CNC product. This is, I would call, the daddy of essentially wide stance bipods. Where do you begin? This, I decided to go for this because I wanted to have an Accu-tac in my collection, and I thought if I'm going to get one, I want to have one which is going to provide me with stability, or for every single rifle I've got, which is undermounting the bipod as opposed to overbore. So this has so many different features in terms of, there's a turret over here where you can position this, and essentially once you've positioned your rifle and you've got stability, you can turn by releasing this catch over here. It's got a tilt feature. There's also cant over here by releasing this. I think you can, is it this one here for the turret? I haven't messed around with this too much because I've got it in a perfect position, which is straight. So obviously it comes with quick release, which again is spring loaded over here. That's something that George at Optics Warehouse told me about. It's a nice little locking feature. Everything's really rock solid with this. Again, spring loaded feet which retract back really nicely. Its folding position, I'm just going to do this on camera. This is the thing, it feels so rugged that it takes effort to fold as well. So bear that in mind. This one, almost like you get a mini workout. There you go, that's it, folded as well. So I really rate this product. Otherwise I wouldn't have invested in it, and it's up there in terms of cost. But from my perspective, I wanted to invest in a quality product when I'm using, essentially shooting off a bench. From my perspective, I use this on some of my top tier rifles, like for example my my Red Wolf, when I've got a Saber Tactical bottle clamp attached, and also the Delta Wolf, for example, and also my Oregon King. My Oregon King weighs a ton, and with the underside rail attached, and this, it's a beautiful marriage, to be fair, because it's too big to go into the clamp. Essentially, my Caldwell precision shooting rest. And now finally I'm moving on to this particular bipod. Now, this I purchased off someone on, I recall it was the Airgun Forum, and this is a very costly bipod, but having said that, I got it at a good price, and it is overbore, designed overbore only. Now, it does come with a spigot, which I haven't got on here at the moment, but what you're supposed to do is mount the spigot on top of a rifle, and then from there, this GRS bipod provides you with incredible stability from an overbore perspective. And however, something I've noticed is that whilst the feet, if you can see, can be positioned in different ways by pushing this down like this, and the feet over here tilt. You've got two positions. You can either use these these are very sharp, by the way, bear that in mind. You can either position it like this, or you can flip it round like this. So you've got the ski flat end over here. One thing I have found, though, is that whilst it says there's multiple positions on the legs, the feet don't accommodate for that. So if you, for example, want your bipod like this, the feet, unfortunately, sit like that at an angle. They don't tilt downwards. So there's no movement to tilt them down in that position. So it's predominantly designed to sit like that and that alone, or folded away. So bear that in mind. But it does fold away quite elegantly as well. But that I'm waiting to use on a particular rifle, and you'll no doubt see that on the channel coming up very soon. But out of the lot, which ones do I prefer? As in, which one is my favourite and why? Well, to be fair, it's difficult to say because I use them all at different times for different reasons, as I've stated. And, you know, I'm fortunate to have amassed over time these particular bipods. As I mentioned, they're quality products, they're top tier, and again, they've got different purposes and functions for me for different rifles. But if I was to say which one do I like the best, and if I had to take one, I think it would have to be the Accu-tac FC5-G2, because in essence, it covers everything. It's incredibly well machined. It's a solid product. It's got the turret feature. It's got the cant. When you extend it out, it's got an incredible degree of height on there. Let me just extend the legs as far as I can go so you can see how far it goes. It's pretty tall once you've extended it. There. So it's up there, which is great. And again, you can change the feet out as well on these and put spikes on them as well if you need to. I definitely rate the Accu-tac, and also I love this, the fact that it's spring loaded. So, which I think is brilliant. So I think if I had to pick one, it would be that. But that's not to dismiss all the others. All the others are perfectly great, you know, brilliant bipods. I love the turret ball feature on the Atlas bipods. I love the functionality with the spigot and the lightness of the Spartan. The GRS it looks fantastic once it's mounted onto a rifle. The only thing is you don't get the flexibility with the leg positions and the feet, which is frustrating, but I think the Accu-tac does it all. So, yeah, those are my kind of overviews of Battle of the Bipod. So, that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. Thank you very much again for watching and for obviously your comments and of liking the videos and of subscribing to them. I'll be back very soon with some exciting rifles. Trust me, I've been speaking to some people recently. I don't want to go into massive detail, but some exciting things coming very, very soon. So please stay tuned to the channel. But until I see you again, take care, and I look forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to getting these rifles. So let's see. Fingers crossed, it's hopefully soon. But then, until then, yeah, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.